I talk a lot about seeking out discomfort, and it reminds me of when I was detoxing. And I know that alcohol is the only drug that can literally kill you through the detox. As far as I know, you shouldn't detox from alcohol without being under supervision. And of course, I just went through it by myself. I had tried detoxing and I tried quitting drinking several times, but once the discomfort kicked in, I wanted to run and hide and find comfort again. And that brings me back to why I actually started drinking in the first place. I noticed that when I first started drinking, it was because when I would go out in social situations, I was very uncomfortable being in a crowd of people. I didn't like being around people. I was very insecure. I didn't really lack confidence in a way, but I was very insecure, and I couldn't relate to people. I couldn't talk to people, so I was just sitting there quiet because I didn't know how to communicate to people. Little did I know I had a type of social anxiety because I have sensory processing quote-unquote disorder. Even though it's not a disorder, I still have sensory processing, which is on the autism scale. And then so I started drinking when I go out because I noticed it made me more sociable. And so that was just once in a while here and there. And then I noticed that when I would do work around my house and I had a project to do, I wasn't able to organize and compartmentalize the task. I wasn't able to organize the task because I have ADD. And I noticed that when I would start going out I would go out into the yard because I had do some yard work for the spring, for the first bit of summer, and the yard's a mess. I would see everything and get overwhelmed, and I would do some here, do some there, because I wasn't able to focus on one thing and organize my tasks. But I would hyper focus on everything all at once and try to organize everything all at once. Once again, little did I know I had OCD and ADD, and so that made things very difficult. But I noticed that when I drink, I was able to slow my mind down, slow my brain down, and I was able to focus on one thing at a time. And it made doing these tasks actually enjoyable. And so I noticed that every time I would have a task, I would start drinking because it made it easier. Well, you start doing that, you want to drink with everything because it makes everything easier. Before I know it, I'm running home from work every single solitary day. I'm 4 years into this now, and I'm going straight into the house, still with my work clothes on, work boots on, my work backpack on. Didn't even put my keys down, keys still in my hand, running straight for the fridge, grabbing a fifth and chugging a fifth straight out of the bottle, straight from the freezer. And before I would pass out at night, I would have downed a whole fifth and about a 6-pack of Bud Light Platinum. And I would black out and pass out every night. I'd wake up the next morning, blacked out, couldn't remember anything. Go to work, halfway through work, start shaking and start sweating, start feeling nauseous, run home, do it again. I did that for 6 years. And then I noticed when I started to quit, when I tried quitting, I would go through the detox and I would get very uncomfortable, and I would make up every excuse to just swing by and grab a bottle. But you know what? Well, it's Wednesday, so I'll drink tonight and then that'll be it. Or I'll drink a couple nights and I'll start Monday. I'll start next week. I'll start next month. And before you know it, still drinking. And so I preface all that with talking about the discomfort and why I'm so big on seeking out discomfort, because we all want to be so comfortable. As an addict, when you go to detox, it's the most uncomfortable, painful, terrible experience you could ever imagine. But we remained addicted to that substance. We're always going to be an addict. You're never going to not be an addict. This whole I'm in recovery, you don't recover from being an addict because you're always going to be an addict. You just don't feed that addiction. So I'm not going to say in recovery. I'm going to say you're an addict, I'm an addict. And so when you stop feeding that addiction, the discomfort becomes so overwhelming. But on the other side of that discomfort, getting through that discomfort is an immense sense of power. Once you get through that discomfort and you realize that you can get through it, you can pull that out every single time something comes up. Every time you have that craving, you can say, you know what, I don't need it. I am stronger than this. I'm stronger than this substance. And that begins to build power. I put in a post that my weaknesses became my power. Well, now they are. My weaknesses for that drug became my power. I found power through restraint, and there's an immense amount of power through restraint. And we all need to start using that power to our benefit.